Welcome to JAC-Tv. Imagine working your entire life as a janitor and retiring richer than your boss. It sounds impossible, but that's exactly what happened. This is the story of the janitor who retired richer than his boss. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The day their journey began. In 1995, two men walked through the doors of the same office building. John wore a tailored suit. His shoes were polished. His briefcase looked expensive. Everyone who saw him immediately knew he was going places. Then there was Jack. Wearing a simple uniform and carrying cleaning supplies, he quietly entered through the service entrance. Nobody paid much attention to him. John was beginning his career as a management trainee, while Jack was starting his first day as a janitor. That morning, neither man knew their lives would become a lesson about money, success, and wealth. At lunch, John sat with managers discussing promotions, investments, and career growth. Jack sat alone eating a homemade meal packed by his wife. The contrast was obvious. One man seemed destined for financial success. The other seemed destined to spend his life barely getting by. At least that's what everyone believed. Chapter 2. Success arrives for John. 5 years passed. John's career exploded. Promotion after promotion, raise after raise, recognition after recognition. At age 35, he was earning more money than his father ever had. He bought a brand new car. The feeling was incredible. People complimented him. Friends admired him. For the first time, he felt successful. A few years later, he upgraded again. A bigger car, a bigger house, a larger mortgage, more responsibilities, more expenses. Whenever his salary increased, he rewarded himself. After all, wasn't that the point of working hard? What John didn't realize was that every upgrade was quietly stealing money from his future. Chapter 3. Jack learns a simple lesson. Meanwhile, Jack's life moved at a different pace. His salary increases were small. Sometimes years passed before receiving a meaningful raise. One evening, after finishing work, Jack met an elderly coworker preparing for retirement. The man shared a piece of advice. Your salary can build your life today, but investments build your life tomorrow. Those words stayed with Jack. The next payday, he started investing a small amount. It wasn't enough to impress anyone. In fact, many people would have laughed at how little he invested. But Jack understood something powerful. The amount wasn't important. The habit was, and so he continued, every month. No excuses, no interruptions. Chapter 4. The Invisible Wealth Builder. 10 years passed. John's lifestyle continued growing. Luxury vacations became normal. Expensive restaurants became routine. The latest gadgets became necessities. Meanwhile, Jack's investments quietly compounded. Nobody congratulated him. Nobody noticed. There were no social media posts, no awards, no applause. But inside his investment account, something extraordinary was happening. Money was creating more money, and that money was creating even more money. At first, the growth seemed insignificant. Then one day, Jack noticed something. His annual investment gains were becoming larger than his annual contributions. For the first time, his money was working harder than he was. Chapter 5. The Market Crash. Then disaster struck. A major market crash hit. News channels talked about panic. Investors rushed to sell. Fear spread everywhere. John stopped investing immediately. He wanted to wait until things felt safe again. Jack felt scared too, but he remembered something he had learned. The market gives discounts during times of fear. Instead of stopping, he continued buying. Month after month, the prices were lower. The opportunities were greater. Years later, those investments purchased during the crash became some of the most valuable assets he owned. Chapter 6. A hard lesson for John. At age 52, something unexpected happened. John's company announced restructuring. Departments were eliminated. Positions disappeared. For the first time in decades, John realized his job wasn't guaranteed. The experience shook him. He looked at his finances. His salary had been enormous, but his savings were surprisingly small. Most of his income had flowed into lifestyle expenses. The cars, the vacations, the upgrades. The things that once brought excitement no longer existed. Only the bills remained. For the first time, John began wondering whether he had been chasing the wrong definition of success. Chapter 7. Retirement Day. Eventually retirement arrived. John expected peace of mind. Instead, he felt uncertainty. He would need to reduce spending, delay certain plans, and carefully manage his remaining savings. Across town, Jack sat down with his wife to review their finances. The numbers were beyond anything he imagined when he started investing decades earlier. Not because he had a high salary, not because he inherited money, not because he got lucky, because he stayed consistent. Through good years, through bad years, through fear, through uncertainty, his investments had grown into a portfolio worth millions. For the first time in his life, Jack realized he was financially free. Chapter 8: The Reunion That Shocked Everyone. Months later, former employees gathered for a reunion. Stories were shared, memories were relived. Then someone asked about retirement. As people discussed finances, the truth slowly emerged. The wealthiest man in the room wasn't a former executive. It wasn't a manager. It wasn't a director. It was Jack, the janitor, the man almost nobody noticed. The room fell silent. John looked at Jack and smiled, because deep down he understood the lesson. Wealth is not about appearing successful. It's about creating freedom. Income matters, but habits matter more. The person who consistently saves and invests can outperform someone who earns 10 times more and spends everything. And perhaps the most important lesson of all, the best time to start building wealth was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. If you had the choice today, would you live like John or invest like Jack? Let me know in the comments below. The goal is to become financially free. This is JAC-Tv. Discipline today, freedom tomorrow. Build wealth, leave your dream. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.